that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds, whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside, a treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Winter reveals the hidden lie. Moonlight could mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground, rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Ms. Green?
We're going to go ahead and call this special called meeting to order. If the city clerk will take row.
Ms. Little? Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Ortega?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Anthony, who do we have leading us in prayer tonight?
We have Pastor Kyle Bargo.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you this evening and we give thanks for all your many blessings. We pray for your continued guidance. We pray that you give the mayor and the city council the wisdom that they need to make good decisions for the people of London. Help them to come together for the good of your people. We also want to remember the families that have recently lost loved ones, including the Bench family. Be with them, Father, we pray. Bring comfort and hope. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Now we'll do the pledge of allegiance.
Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from March 10th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The clerk do a roll call.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Benj,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
There's no old business on this agenda, so we'll move to the new. We have, first of all, the London Cemetery Board is here. Harold Dyke, he would like to speak to council. Also in your package, there is a letter from that board as well.
Good afternoon. Everyone, is this on? Okay. We've got two recommendations that we had sent in to City Hall. The first involves a proposed temporary easement that the Department of Transportation has approached the cemetery about. They've staked it off. It goes essentially around the curve along Main Street. It is for their Highway 25 construction project that is scheduled to begin next year. They essentially just want a place for ingress and egress. They will be doing sidewalk and gutter reconstruction there. And it's my understanding that they're actually going to be moving part of it a different direction. And so part of that will become green space. And I'll get to that in a few minutes. But they made an offer that was included in the memorandum of understanding that was provided to you. It did not include any language regarding holding the city harmless or indemnity in the event that any graves were disturbed. We have asked them for that, and they have now included that language. I was given a copy of a new memorandum today. So they have agreed to do that. In light of the fact that it would probably cost us more than we would get to hire an appraiser to go out and make a counteroffer, adding that condition and allowing them to cut down any trees that are along the border of the easement, we think that additional language is sufficient, and we're recommending that the council approve their offer on the proposed easement. The second matter that I have to present to you is a bit more in depth. It involves ongoing maintenance and costs at the cemetery. The first meeting of the reconstituted cemetery board was actually 2 years ago this month. Immediately, we began addressing the revenue issues that the cemetery had. At that time, there was a 5-year average of lot sales of about $101,000. Lot sales are the primary revenue for the cemetery. So that essentially is what we had to spend on managing and mowing. There was also approximately $135,000 in employee salary and benefits at that time. We recommended and you approved hiring a contract manager. So he's only paid on contract. He doesn't have benefits. And we've also contracted out the mowing. However, we also have 2 loans that we're paying on that cost us about $45,000 a year. We have reinstituted the process of adding money to the perpetual care fund in the amount of 10% per lot sold. So when you total up the manager cost, the loan cost, and 10% of $100,000, assuming that continues to be the average of the lot sales per year, you've already eaten it up and you've not gotten to the mowing bids. So I think the total loan balance right now is about $155,000. The land on those loans, though, is not ready to be used, not ready to be sold for lots. We do have a perpetual care fund, but it's my understanding that we can't begin using that money until all of the lots are sold, which would include undeveloped land that's available for lots. So we're kind of in a bit of a vice. If we don't have the money to develop it, but we reach the point where we've run out of lots, we just don't have the money to continue operating separate and apart from the city. In addition, when the council reorganized the board last year, you put 3 additional city-owned cemeteries under our purview. 2 of those are historical cemeteries. One is Defeated Camp within the park, and the other is the Levi Jackson Family Cemetery off 229. Both of those are historical cemeteries. We are not selling any lots in either one of those. That would be the only income, however, that we could derive as far as any of these 3. The third one is on 13th Street, and there are no lots available to be sold. So we don't have any money to put into a bank account to maintain those 3 additional cemeteries. I think that either Public Works or Tourism may be maintaining them right now as far as mowing is concerned. But it's not really something that we are ever going to have a separate account that we can use for those 3 cemeteries. And we cannot use the money that is paid for a lot in Albert Dyke for another cemetery. So, well, I understand the sentiment of trying to have all of them under one umbrella. We just aren't financially able to maintain or to set up bank accounts for those additional cemeteries. At the second meeting that we had in May of 2023, Gam Greer and Nancy Vaughn came to the meeting. Gam and Nancy had both been on the board before it was dissolved and then reconstituted. And they gave us a lot of really good advice. They had a lot of historical knowledge about the cemetery that they could give us. But one of the last things they said to us at that point, and this was in May of 2023, was our advice to you is go ahead and let the city take this back over. So we made the changes that we felt we could. We have reduced costs in certain ways, but things that we can't do right now because of our lack of money. We can't clear the property for additional lots. We don't have the money to build a mausoleum, and we would not have the money to bid on that green space that's going to be adjacent to the cemetery when the 25 project is finished. Independently, the cemetery can't do that. The city as an entity could. So our recommendation is that the city resume responsibility for maintaining the city-owned cemeteries and allow the Department of Works to mow the city-owned cemeteries. I'll answer any questions that I can if you have any, and if not, that's pretty much a summary of what we included in your packet.
So what you're basically saying is you need more money.
Yeah, and there have been times when we've reached the end of the year, we've had a shortfall. The city's given us some money for that. But then after the beginning of the next fiscal year, we had to put that money back in.
Okay.
So it was not really,
Sounds.
it was a loan more than anything else.
Is the city taking care of the breastworks? Mowing it?
I think so, Stacy. I'm not 100% sure, but we don't have anybody who's available.
So your guy's not doing it?
No.
And I think the tourism takes care of the 2 at the park, just because they maintain the
Right.
park. They chose to do that. Is there a reason, since you don't have to put the money in perpetual care because it's city owned, is there a reason you chose to start putting the 10% in again?
We knew that with the lots, I think we have about 300 lots remaining that are available to be sold. We don't have those others cleared. But I'll say this much, between October and December of last year, we sold 7 lots. So we had $700 to put in.
Yeah.
And it's cyclical. I understand that, it's going to fluctuate how much money we bring in, but for that to be a quarter of the year was, we just looked at that and thought this is, I don't think that with all these other obligations, that $10,000 is not going to make the difference.
So by letting the city do the mowing, that's going to defer a lot of the costs.
I think that would
take care of the shortfall.
I think that it would. I mean, I think that would.
So what you really asked, that's the question, is just, do you want the city to mow the cemetery?
Well, if the
Instead of
city
paying
would
the
mow the
contractor.
cemetery, I mean, that would be fine. The other thing that I'll mention, and it might be self-defeating, but I don't necessarily mind that. In the ordinance, you all included a stipend for the cemetery board members to
Correct.
receive for each regular meeting that we attended. 5 board members and 4 regular meetings a year, that's $5,000.
Yeah.
That also gets paid out of the cemetery fund.
Yeah.
And, you know, quite frankly, I appreciate a $250 check, but I don't necessarily think that I need it at the expense of the cemetery losing money.
We can take it away.
I mean, that's
that'll help.
the city gives us and the city takes away.
Harold,
Other
do you
people got
also,
paid. So
do you mean also by giving that back to the city, that the board would be dissolving itself of anything, or would you all still be in place? So
Well, we couldn't dissolve ourselves. I mean, it would ultimately be up to the council whether you thought you needed an advisory board to remain in place to, I guess, essentially take complaints and then address them, and if necessary, bring those to the council. But I don't know that the board, would really have any other responsibilities beyond that if the city is doing the maintaining and there's already a contract in place for management.
that's what I was thinking. I didn't know if the board would be needed if we took on all that.
I don't know that it would, but it's up to you whether you want to keep it in place.
do you mind serving on the board?
Excuse me?
Do you mind serving on the board?
I've actually learned a lot in the last 2 years while I've served on the board. I've appreciated the opportunity to do it. So
So I hate to ask for you to speak for the other 4. Does everybody don't care about the $250
Well,
stipend?
this is just something that we talked about and included in there, but we didn't really discuss whether everybody wants, so I can't speak for them.
Okay.
I'm just making the
It was
point
added
that
on,
it's
yeah.
an additional $5,000 that if it came from somewhere other than the cemetery fund, if it came from a general fund as opposed to the cemetery fund, that would, solve that problem. But
Well,
if
I mean,
it's,
it
if
could
we're
have it, just
self-sustaining the
wasn't-
cemetery with everything else and then putting that on top of it, it's more than is
I
necessary.
mean, I don't care if the city mows it. I don't think we had to make that decision anyway. I think the mayor has the prerogative to decide who mows the cemetery. But you did mention that you're going to honor the other contract, which I assume the only other contract is the person that's digging the graves. I'm not sure who it is right now.
That's the cemetery manager.
Digs the graves,
And sells them.
walks around, takes people around the lot, keeps track of what has and hasn't been sold, what's available for sale, what's not available
Right.
for
I
sale.
didn't mean to make it simplified. Okay. So that stays the same. Okay, we can amend the ordinance. That'll save, if you're all willing to give that up. I just thought it was fair at the time because other boards we have get paid.
Well,
And you all were doing a lot of work
and right before
and meeting a lot.
you did that, I think we had just gone through a 3-hour meeting.
Yeah.
So like I said, it was not unappreciated, certainly.
Yeah.
What is your recommendation about the board remaining?
I think that if the city is mowing it, maintaining the grounds, and there is a manager in place, which can be bid whether there's a board in place or not. I don't know that it's necessary for the cemetery board to remain in the form that it is right now, if you accept this recommendation.
Is the current cemetery manager Doug Hampton?
Yes.
I know there have been problems in the past with the plots that have been sold. That's been over the years, even when Yam and Nancy were on the board.
Yeah.
The person who has the best records of that right now, who is that?
Well, Doug, the manager, has all of the maps. We've not been able to digitize that. So our records are on paper. They're on rolled up paper maps there in the office.
Our hopes at the time when we created the board was that you would be able to. I know it's been a task. I know
That was something that we wanted to do, but again, that we ran into issues of just not being able to pay to have that done.
Nothing wrong with having a board if it doesn't gonna cost anything. Unless you all want, if you don't want to serve on it, you can always just.
Harold, had
get
you
off
all
of it.
already taken bids for this spring? Had you gotten 3 bids already for the mowing?
We opened a number of bids at our March 11th meeting. I don't think, just off the top of my head, that any of the bids did a whole lot better on our mowing costs from last year. Last year, I think it was $50,000. It was mowed 25 times at just under $2,000 per mowing. I don't think, there might have been 1 or 2 that were better than that, but we ultimately tabled that issue for a potential special called meeting pending your all's action tonight.
I've got a question about the mowing. So you did have bids you received.
Yes.
at your table. Of course, the low bid that you had, was it the same mowing contractor we've had before that you're not taking over?
His bid, I think, was the same as it was before. There might have been a $100 or $200 difference in that one. There were some others that were lower, but had a different staff available to do the project, and that was a concern.
I see.
So,
Wait,
go ahead.
in the past there, since you all taken over, have you had any problem with the mowing contractor having damage to the stones at all? I hope you had any trouble with that. I know some of my family stones out there have been nicked and damaged out there, but I don't remember if it was.
To my knowledge,
Or if it was,
to my knowledge, we've not had any issues with Shane and chipped or broken stones, but I can check on that and get back with you.
I was just curious. Of course, I guess the contractor's responsible for providing insurance, liability insurance.
That's correct.
I don't know. The only thing I'm just concerned, it might be cheaper if we did take it over to continue subcontracting out the mowing to whoever the low bidder might be. Because, they would have insurance that would protect us, the city, from liability. I don't know how much it would cost us internally. If we did take it over, we might have to buy more mowers to do it and hire more people. And I'm sure they can do that if they can.
This issue came up a few years ago, but the cemetery was running short on money, and they pretty much kind of stopped there for a little bit. With Memorial Day coming up and the fact that we have a lot of visitors coming to our town for their loved ones, do you have the money right now to make sure that it is maintained well for that holiday?
Yeah, we had actually spoken with the contractor who had been mowing it, who mowed it last year. And he said until we made a decision, he'd continue to do it on an as needed basis. And so, yes, we do have somebody available to mow it now until a decision is made on this certainly through the Memorial Day holiday.
Okay, okay.
So I don't think it requires our approval, but I'll go ahead and move that the city take over the responsibility of mowing and that they honor the management contract in place.
I second that.
If the city clerk do a roll call?
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes,
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
And Harold, as far as the ordinance goes and the keeping the board, it's something we have to do by ordinance that we couldn't do tonight anyway. It's a special call meeting.
Okay.
And I'm sure we'll talk about it and maybe whatever the majority wants to do, I guess.
When's your next board meeting?
Our next scheduled meeting isn't until June.
Okay.
I guess with this action tonight, I don't imagine we'll need to have a special called meeting to review the mowing bids again. So I don't anticipate having a meeting prior to June.
Yeah, I would just want to make sure we're aware of it, because I think we need to probably look at that mowing contract bid and us talk to, I guess, Phil, whoever would handle the public works of that mowing, figure out if we need additional mowers or whatever. If we did it ourselves, we might be better off to just keep that contractor in place.
Yeah, let me ask you something about that other contract. When does it expire, the management contract? Is it a yearly?
The one that I saw was, I believe, extended through 2028.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I think that was the date on it.
Is it going okay right now?
We had an issue that was brought before us that we have addressed, and everything else is going just fine.
Okay, thanks.
And
Thank you, Harold.
before Harold leaves, Harold has been very instrumental in leading the cemetery board and in dealing with the state, with the easement, all the discussions with memorandum of understanding that are a part of the next items that you'll be dealing with. He's been a tremendous asset
Yes,
to
you
to the
certainly
city.
have.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
You went above and beyond. That's why we wanted to give you some money. Thought you deserved it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
the next thing we need to do is
Easement.
approval for the memorandum, then we'll do the easement. So we get a motion to approve the signing of the
So the
memorandum.
memorandum's part of the easement. Great.
Correct.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
Next thing, we need a motion for the signing of the easement.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
Next thing we have on the agenda is city attorney advisories.
That's the most that we've done in city business for a while. I've been city attorney in London with 4 different mayors, including Mayor Weddle, and 17 different city councils. I counted a few nights ago. I've never in all those years had the experience with the city council that we've had for the last several months. I've been quiet through most of this turmoil, but things have happened and I have to speak out tonight. Your city council meetings have become the butt of jokes throughout this community and throughout the Commonwealth. People in Frankfurt, Louisville, Manchester, Somerset, I've heard from those people that are laughing at our council meetings. Other city attorneys ask me, don't they know any better? More importantly, people here in London ask me about your behavior at council meetings. Don't they know how this looks? Don't they care? I don't know. I am ashamed. We used to be known for the Redwood Drive, for the Chicken Festival. People come from all over the world for those. People come from other counties to enjoy our parks, especially our walking parks Now we're known for our council meetings. This evening, I'm going to address some of the illegal actions that you've been taking the past several weeks. I'm doing this in hopes of protecting some of the city employees and in hopes that we can continue to provide services to the citizens of London. What I am going to show you in a few minutes are the constitutional guarantees and job protections that city employees have. You cannot use the power of the purse to do whatever you want to do. City employees have rights. They have constitutional rights. And I will show you cases that address those rights that they have. This power of the purse idea that you're contemplating is not legal. I am trying to protect some good employees in this city. What has occurred in some of the several last hastily called city council meetings? This council were called when neither the mayor nor I could be present, and you knew that, but you called those meetings anyway. The council has tried to summons city employees to the meeting, but never asked if they could be here. When someone asked at your last meeting that I viewed, they were notified of the meeting. Two of those city employees, had long-standing medical appointments, one for cancer treatment for their spouse. This council has tried to pass a requirement that no council member could attend for virtual means. Just about every agency, governmental agency in Kentucky allows that. Kentucky law allows that. Most Kentucky governments involve the use of that. We've had two situations where virtual meetings have been used most recently. One is with Kill, when he was on the council, and he was going through his medical issues. The other was with Holly, when her father has been hospitalized and having heart surgery. These were personal medical issues that were going on, and you want to stop the use of virtual meetings. I sent an email to you advising you that this violates the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, federal law. You are entitled under federal law to take care of your family. And discriminating against a person because of their family's disability violates that law. You've targeted a fellow council member. I'll be showing you Kentucky law and your own illegal actions taken at council meetings. I hope you will start following the law. Right now, that's the reason I enjoyed the cemetery board presentation. It's the first thing I remember in a long time that you've done It's truly been city business. You're engaged in hate and politics, and it should stop. As city attorney, I have an obligation to point this out to you when you're not following the law. You can follow my advice or not. I don't care. All I do is advise you. You've got a very good, capable lawyer, Conrad. You've got KLC that you can contact. Now, I know some of you, for legitimate reasons, couldn't attend KLC training, but some of you haven't been there in years to the training. You would be wise to have KLC come down here and give you training on how to conduct your meetings, and they will do that. I know some of you don't respect KLC, but they are the ones in the business of providing that information to you. Ask Conrad if you don't believe me after I present this to you. Don't rely on Facebook posts. Most of the stuff you read on Facebook is not true, and you should know that. Nobody checks for its accuracy, especially with legal information. I know most people don't think much of lawyers anymore, but we're there for a purpose, to provide legal advice, because we went to law school and we're trained in this. Conrad and I both have been in courts before, a lot, and we both know the law. I will show you specifically what you did in your last council meeting. It was a special call meeting. It was wrong from the beginning. I'll try to operate this, but it may need some help. In KRS 83A.130.11, there's a process for calling a special call meeting. Either the mayor can do it, or a majority of the one over the majority of the council can call it upon written request. There was no written request for the last council. None. And you know how to do it because you've done it before. Here's where you've done it before. Just this past year. See these signatures? You knew how to do this. You just didn't do it. Why? I don't know.
Was that a question, sir, or are you trying to have a?
No,
dialogue
I'm
here,
just
or?
presenting this to you.
They shut down contact with their city clerk.
Well, we'll get
Okay,
to
there
that in a
you go.
minute. We'll get to that.
Good morning. I'm going to go ahead and call the special called meeting to order. I have been appointed to chair the meeting today, and in the absence of our mayor and city attorney and Katie.
Okay. When did that happen? When was Judd appointed? Wasn't it that meeting?
Yes, it was. It
No,
was
it
right before they
wasn't.
started filming.
I just showed you.
It was
the
right before
beginning.
he turned on the camera. They
It's not-
asked me, I turned to Anthony and Justin and I said, is it all right if Judd chairs this meeting? And they said, yes.
It's not on your agenda.
It's all right.
No, it's not. It's a violation of the law. That's the beginning of the violation.
You mean to not to have who's chairing the meeting on the?
You have to, if the mayor's not here at that meeting, you can do it before. You can do it a day before. That's an illegal meeting, and you all know that. You've got to do it at the meeting. You didn't do that.
Yeah.
We did do that at the meeting.
You
Yeah, we did.
can. if it's on your agenda, why not put it on the agenda and do it? But that's not what happened.
So what
There
you're
was
saying,
no vote.
so
on
what you're
doing
saying
it.
is that if the mayor is supposed to come to a meeting and chair and he, at last minute, he can't make it,
Yes,
someone else is supposed to chair, correct?
yes.
But that wasn't on the meeting, on
I'm
the
sorry.
agenda.
Right.
Him not making it wasn't on the agenda. Things
If
changed.
the mayor is not there, the statute provides that you can do that. Yes,
Which
but
we
it's
did.
got to be done at the meeting.
We did.
We did.
it was.
There was no motion. Never mind.
Were you
I'm
there, Larry?
pointing this out. Conrad can tell you how you're supposed to do it. Okay?
Understood.
At the meeting, you can do ordinances two ways. One, you can read the ordinance. And Anthony, I appreciate you listening. I know some others are not, but I appreciate it. You can read the ordinance, or you can read a summary of the ordinance. If you read a summary of the ordinance, it's got to be certified by an attorney. Doesn't have to be the city attorney. Conrad can certify. It's required that it be certified by an attorney who's licensed to practice law in Kentucky. And you know that because we've done that many times before. KD has either read the summary or has read the ordinance in its entirety. But that's not what happened.
Move on to ordinance number 2025-02. We're going to do a second reading as well.
Real quick summary of ordinance 2025-02 will change to where it will allow the whole community center to be council chambers rather than just the basement down here. And the Linden Community Center is located at 529 South Main Street, London, Kentucky. I move to accept this ordinance for a second reading.
That's not the way it's supposed to be done. It's not in keeping with Kentucky law. That's why those ordinances are invalid. That's why the mayor vetoed those ordinances.
You know, I've just got a question for you, Larry. You talk about
Yes.
meeting being illegal. How about some of these executive session meetings we've had that were illegal, that you sat in on and allowed to happen?
I don't
Since all
know.
your years of
Tell
being a city
me
attorney, you know,
what
you should know that.
Tell me, I do.
I'll take you back to September of 23, when you all had an executive meeting and brought me in just to blast me, and we wasn't talking about anything else. The meeting was set up to attack me. That's what you did. And I'm glad you're shaking your head, yes, because that's all that happened in that meeting.
And you allowed it to happen.
And you were at the front of
You
it.
were at that meeting.
You were at the front of
Yeah,
it.
but
You
you're the
caused
attorney.
it.
Okay.
You're the attorney, Larry. You should know
You know
that.
what Kelly had told me? At a meeting, I should speak when spoken to.
Yes, you should. You're just the
You
attorney.
didn't speak to me. You didn't tell me to speak.
You all came in there to attack me, Mr.
2
Weddle,
years ago.
and yeah, 2 years ago. What did you all accuse me of, Larry? Would you
Several
like to
things,
tell
Kelly.
everybody here?
Well, I'm not prepared.
Yeah, let's tell them.
Tell
I
you
want them to know.
everything. Right now, I'm telling you about the violations that you have been a part of when I was not here.
Well, how come you wasn't here?
Why wasn't you?
I had another meeting. Nobody checked with me.
Oh, shit.
Nobody checked with the mayor. Nobody checked with those city
So you didn't
employees.
get the email?
I got the email, but I've got other things I do besides
Mr.
come to
Bryson,
your hastily called council meeting.
Mr.
Well,
Bryson,
you can't do your job.
And I knew the day before. That's how much notice I got.
Mr. Bryson, so what you're saying is that
Yes, sir.
those ordinances were illegal, correct?
Yes, sir.
Or, I'm sorry, you used a different word. You didn't use illegal. You used invalid, or you used.
You can illegal, invalid, they're void.
So if an ordinance is void, then why would the mayor veto an invalid ordinance?
I think he was putting you all on notice that he was not going to sign them
Gotcha.
because they were illegal.
So,
Okay.
It has to be one or the other. We either had an illegal meeting or it was legal and he needed to veto the ordinances.
Why
You
not?
can't have it both ways.
Why not?
It was either illegal
Why not?
or it was legal and he vetoed the ordinances.
He vetoed it because it was illegal.
Why would it?
I mean, that's what he told you. He sent an email to you and told you that.
okay,
Did you not read it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, we read
got it right here. This one, let me ask that one thing.
If we
Larry,
can continue.
no sarcasm.
I'm
What we're
sorry.
saying is that the second reading was illegal, not that the contents of the ordinance that we had, the meeting place, we'd already read it once and approved it. And then
There are
is there some
some
errors?
things, and that this begins to deal with
Okay.
that, on the requirements of employees to come to council.
I was
meetings.
actually only referring to the ordinance that gave the meeting time and place. That's the only one that I did.
Yeah.
Just making sure there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
I have some hesitation about saying that a meeting here, up here, is legal. I know the fellow from Jackson County that came and did the training said he thought you could designate the entire building. I'm not real confident of that. I think we probably ought to get an advisory opinion
I asked,
from the.
I got
SG.
one from KLC.
Mm.
Is there,
I don't know.
is there a KRS that states that a city with a mayor, council, form of government is supposed to have one regular meeting per month?
Yes, there's a statute.
So we didn't have a regular meeting last month, and we haven't had one this month yet. Do you
Hey.
know if we're ever gonna have one for
Well,
March?
Our regular meetings are we're all screwed up right now. Our regular meetings are supposed to be the first Monday in each month.
Yes, sir.
It's been that way for years.
Yes, sir.
And we've always known the time, the place.
I mean, that was
It's
the
set by
purpose for-
ordinance.
that
It's a must.
That was the purpose of redoing
That was-
ordinances because it
that
hadn't
was
been
the
updated
purpose,
in a while.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
technically, all of our meetings have been
And
in the
actually,
wrong place
well, the last couple
for years.
Well, you can't
I know it's
change
technicality.
And then Mr. Bryson, my
Can't change
second
the
question to
a
you, sir,
regular meeting.
is there not KRS that states that the city council can investigate any city department?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay. I'm just kind of confused where it says that the city council has no authority to require any city employee to do anything.
that's right.
Well, when you're-
Well, maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
yeah.
So I was just kind of confused because when I read that KRS that states the city council and this form of government can investigate any city department, a city department has city employees.
Mhm. Yeah, we'll deal with that in just a minute.
This
The,
text you have,
You
where did this
cannot,
text come from that you've got on the screen?
From me.
Is that KRS or out of a certain book, or that's what you typed up?
me, I did it.
Huh.
Mhm,
You did type that up
I did,
based on whatever you were looking at.
I did.
So those are your words there.
They
Okay.
are.
I just want to clarify.
Yep. KRS 83A130 says, and this is what you were asking about, I think, that the only
legal method, my words, for the council to conduct investigations involving city employees is it requires written notice to the mayor. And the mayor has the right to review any statement before submission to the council and to appear personally and through his designee on behalf of any department, office, or agency in the course of the investigation. Now, this ordinance really was more one that you could just require the attendance. And I know at different times, you all had wanted Sherry here to interrogate her. You wanted me here to interrogate me. That's on their agenda.
That's absolutely not
No,
true.
we wanted her
It's
here for
absolutely not true.
financial information.
Yeah.
Sherry's
Well, there's
position is financial
very
director,
way-
so when we
I'm very
requested her
disappointed
on
that you
the
would
agenda,
insinuate that.
it was
Yes.
for financial
But
questions.
Judge,
Very
you and I can
disappointed.
be disappointed about different things, can't we? Some of your behavior.
Can we please
We-
move on with city
We've
business?
never
please?
said anything
Come
about
on,
Sherry's
talk about
job.
that, do you, Judge?
Yeah. Good.
You don't want to talk about that at Eldorado's, do you?
What are you talking about? When you approached me in
When
a very bad
you,
way.
in front of my grandson.
Mr. Bryson, can we just talk
Point of
about the
order,
city business?
point of order,
Yeah,
please.
he doesn't
Yes.
want- he doesn't want anybody to
Just-
hear.
Yes, we talked about business.
And with
He
the-
doesn't want
I
anybody
understand, and with all
to
due
hear.
respect, I've tried to, I mean, appreciate the knowledge and the education and everything that you're giving everyone about this, because you're right. There are things that we need to make sure on, from my end
Yes,
to that end,
Yes.
that we need to clean up in this city.
Yes.
yeah.
And I would appreciate it, because I'm being diligent in what you're saying and
Mhm.
giving, and I think everyone is.
Yeah.
They're asking legitimate questions to
Mhm.
the questions that you're posing towards them. If we could stick to that, that would get it better.
When he says,
Yes.
of all people,
I understand.
when he says he doesn't like what I'm insinuating.
Well,
that's
it's not
a
true, Larry.
personal
That's why. It's
attack
simply a lie. It's
on
not
me,
true. So
And he is not one to personally attack
I
me.
understand. And
He did that, Conrad, in front of my 11-year-old grandson.
well, and that's,
He
could
gave me the finger.
that not have been an issue
He-
for another day?
He
Not today,
said
though,
some words
is all I'm
that
asking.
I would never say in
And-
front of an 11-year-old
I don't,
in public.
Mr.
that's not
Bryson,
true. That's
Yes,
not
it
true.
is.
No, it's
Mr.
not
Bryson,
true.
can
but again, it's irrelevant though.
There's
Mr.
four,
Bryson, can we please get back to city business?
That's a lie.
four witnesses there.
Please, let's move on,
Well,
please.
then don't talk about insinuation. You're the last one to talk about insinuation to me.
Larry,
Okay,
just sit.
thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, sit down.
I
Get back
know.
to the business.
Let's
I mean,
forget
you've been
about it.
attorney long
Forget
enough to know
about it.
better than this crap. Get back to your business and go on.
Oh, thank you, Justin. How long did you go to law school?
About as long as you went to truck driving school, I believe.
I'm not talking about truck driving, no.
Well, you told me you drove a truck in your younger days. but
I
you
did.
didn't- you
Mr.
didn't have a
Bryson.
driver's license, so I'm
Yeah.
just curious.
Mr.
Yeah,
Bryson,
we're talking about the law
can we
now.
please continue, sir?
Thank you, Nancy. We are. These, thank you. These are illegal actions, illegally called meetings, violating the open meetings law, illegally acting ordinance summaries, violating the separation of powers because the mayor controls the employees of the city. If you want to do an investigation, there is a statute by which you can do that. The actions of the council are violations of the freedom of speech guaranteed of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, and these actions are illegal. They violate clearly established laws. And I lost part of this. The First Amendment, I have handouts of all of this for you, Conrad, for all the council members, and for anybody else that wants it. These are cases, Conrad and I both recognize them, long-standing cases that establish the rights of a public employee. And there are public employees here in London whose jobs are being threatened now.
Mr. Bryson,
I know,
real quick
Anthony,
question,
you
sir.
were at the fire department the other day
Yes, sir.
when I was there,
Yes, sir.
and you and the fire chief, I think, were discussing the fact that some fire department employees felt threatened. I know in the past that their jobs were threatened.
Do you know
Brian Johnson?
who was threatening
recently,
their jobs?
Put their jobs being threatened.
I didn't think we had that ability
Yes.
to do any
Because
hiring and firing.
you just said the mayor's over the city
Yes,
employees.
yes.
So
You all talked at the last meeting about the power of the purse.
no one said that.
Yeah,
That
they
was-
did.
That was a member of the audience saying that.
And we never,
And,
do you have that recording? I'm
yep,
curious.
I do.
Okay.
I'll see if it's
You'll
this.
hear that none of the council members said anything.
So I second his motion, and so far, none of that money has been touched because we haven't amended the budget, have we? So if any
No.
police officers are scared of losing their job or overtime.
No, I'm not- I'm not saying that's
That
the
money
case.
has not been taken away yet.
That was one.
Did you go through the footage and pull that out yourself, Larry, or was that done in-house by our IT?
I did it as well as I could.
You did?
That's why I'm
Okay.
having
I'm just
trouble with this. I'm not as good at this. I think it takes a minute.
Mr. Bryson, just to save us some time, I mean, you could just tell us so we can.
Well, there was some question about, I think at the, Katie, can you, or Brian?
Yeah, I have a question. Why are these employees who are on our payroll that we as citizens pay for, were they notified to be here?
According to my communication with the city clerk, they are on the email distribution list, so they were aware.
So they are defiantly not attending.
We just don't know why exactly. We don't have a reason for three people.
Well, at some point, this council's gonna have to realize it's power of the purse,
Agree.
and that's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Did that come from us?
Yeah, yeah, that was your meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't say that.
Jody said agree.
No, I did not, Larry. That was not my voice.
Oh, but I just played it.
You might have.
I just played it. I mean, don't believe me, but believe the tape. I know it was Doug Phelps, I know. But Jody said, agree. Was that not your voice, Jody?
So, Mr. Bryson, what is the conclusion?
What's the relevance
Here, sir.
Larry?
That employees are being threatened.
By who,
They're
Larry?
being threatened by the mayor not to show up.
They're being threatened by the council.
They were threatened by email that they better not show up, Larry.
They were threatened by this council.
They were threatened by
You did,
email.
in fact, make a motion to take away $500,000 from the police. There have been discussions by Jody with others about simply posting a statute on their Facebook account, just posting a statute. You better look out for yourself and your family. Okay, I've given you case law. I've got the handouts of all of this. I can reproduce this so you all can have a copy of it.
Mr. Bryce, I do have
Yes.
one question.
Okay,
You're saying that we're discriminating against one council member.
yes.
What council member are we discriminating against?
Live.
Has anyone ever said her name up here?
You don't have to.
Why would you assume that, Larry?
Well, who else has been virtually attending? Who else's father's been in the hospital?
Well, you said
I mentioned
Mr. Jarvis
Kill
was
also.
and Miss Little.
I mentioned Kill also. Same situation.
And she had missed more than one. It wasn't just her dad's illness, sir. She had not been coming to meetings. And Zooming came into play during COVID. Everybody was Zooming into meetings and stuff, but it's not even needed now. If you run for office and you're getting paid by this city to be in attendance to represent the voters, you should be in attendance if you possibly can. Now, we know that there's sickness. We know things happen. And I think it's mentioned maybe in our statutes or ordinance or something, 3 absences in a year's time for a regular call meeting, but
Without valid excuses.
without valid excuses. But I mean,
Who's saying something is valid or not?
right.
What's a valid excuse?
It's a city ordinance.
And we know that there was more meetings missed than during her father's sickness.
I don't know that.
Right.
I know when you enacted this, and I know the circumstances then. Just telling you the law, like I said, you can ignore it if you want to.
So are you saying that by them, with the municipal order requiring in-person attendance, are you saying that that is a violation of the law as we sit here today?
I'm saying it can be.
Okay,
And I'm saying in Holly's situation, it certainly could be.
right, which takes other steps like ADA accreditation or accommodations and things like that she would have to receive. And
Which video does.
correct, but I'm just
And
saying, as we sit right now, when
Kentucky
they
law
pass,
applies.
so I guess my point is when they look to move that into policy, that wasn't the case. Like no one has any ADA accommodations or anything like that's current city council members, I mean, that we know of. So can't that be the way like that we handle things going forward? If you see something, advised beforehand as opposed to today. I mean, you told us after we did it that you thought that was a problem when there's nothing in place that's making it problematic at the time. Does that make sense?
Why do it at all?
But because they're allowed to. I mean, with all due respect to Mr. O'Bannon, I mean, we had this same debate. Well, they're allowed to. Nobody's arguing their ability to be able to put that into policy.
If it is because of a person or their family's disability, it is a legal problem for the council.
Okay, fair enough.
And Mr.
Okay.
Bryson, one last question, sir. You're saying that the city council is intimidating city employees.
I'm sorry.
You're saying that the city
No, we're
council is
not.
intimidating city employees.
Yes.
Okay. Just by having them on the agenda is intimidation.
If you quit, because you do not have the authorization to do that.
Correct. So
The
we have,
mayor is
Right, the
their
day-to-day.
supervisor.
correct.
Right.
According to KRS, if we want to investigate a city department, that goes through the mayor.
Or a city employee,
Correct.
yes. And as far as the budget's concerned, the protocol for that, we followed it for years, as we should have, is the mayor delivers his addressed to the council on the financial condition of the city. The city is in good, as far as I know, financial condition, and able to pay your bills, pay your employees. You know, so I know there was that motion to cut the $500,000 from the police, whether it was knee jerk or whatever. I don't know. But it happened.
I would
It's
like
part
the
of
record to
means.
show when we put the fire chief on the agenda, assistant police chief Bobby Day, and finance director Sherry Jones, it was not to intimidate. It was to get questions answered on behalf of the city.
They were, particularly Sherry.
So Sherry was
No, Sherry
intimidated.
provides the information to the mayor before he makes his proposed budget to you all.
And since this is my first year on here and my first budget I've ever been a part of,
Yes,
we will, what yours says is that the city council has no authority to talk to the financial director about the budget.
that's right.
Okay.
That's right. I mean, that's, if you want to change the law, go to Frankfurt.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anything else?
I got a question. You're talking about threatening city employees. Can city employees threaten citizens?
Well, criminal law, and I don't practice that much criminal law. Haven't for years. Conrad would be a better person to answer that.
Do I have to do it right?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Before we move on to that, the next thing on the agenda, I would like to clarify, in a couple of the emails that some of the council members have sent out, you guys have stated that you have questions. The city employees just want to know the questions so we can answer them to you guys. Anything you want to know, just like monthly, you guys get financial reports from Sherry. This month, she actually included a little bit more of a detailed report to you other than just numbers. Again, they've all just expressed, if you submit your questions, we'll answer them. No one's not trying to hide anything there. But I guess with the current climate, they just do not want to get involved in the politics of it, to sum that up. Moving on to the next thing on the agenda is to approve the Board of Ethics appointment. You'll find in your packet there that we appointed Jamie Gibson to the Ethics Board. And what was council's pleasure in that?
No,
I'm a little confused, Mayor. You appointed him, but then you're asking us for a recommendation?
No, we're asking you for confirmation of his appointment.
Okay.
no.
We have one seat to fill on the Ethics Board. You said no, Kelly. Does he
Right.
not meet the obligations or the requirements to serve on that board?
I'm not sure what he meets.
He
Have
lives
they
in-
had ethics training yet? Any of them?
Do what now?
Has any of the ethics board had ethics training yet? And has he had ethics training?
Well, he's not been appointed. The chairman of the Ethics Board has had training through KLC.
In the past, it seems that the board has been stacked. Therefore, I say no.
The board has been what, excuse me?
Stacked.
So this person doesn't meet the requirements for the appointment.
I don't believe so, sir.
How's it been stacked, Kelly?
Huh?
How has it been stacked?
That's going down another road that I'm not going to talk about tonight because the citizens have already had to hear too much. It's just a known fact. So I don't have to answer for the reason that I say no. I'm just saying no.
The chair just wanted clarification. Next thing on the agenda is the street department surplus. Philip submitted to you guys pictures and all the details in that, what he was wanting to get surplus. Is there any questions regarding that? If there's no questions.
And it's nothing to do with surplus. Do you have people you sell them? Do you put them on the line to sell? I wasn't sure what the process was when you sold all that stuff off. I mean, it doesn't look like anything in particular. I'm just curious. Is that how you do it? Okay. Is that a website?
Yeah, it is.
Is that something anybody can bid on?
Yes.
They just register and bid like?
It's wide open.
Yeah, I bought stuff on that.
I'm sorry, I didn't know. I just really curious what we did. I looked through it. I make a motion. I move that we surplus them.
Second.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
Next thing that on the agenda, rather request of council is executive security team executive order. What is your pleasure in that?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, if I could have just a second, I've been asked by the council to address this issue. I think there's a little confusion on their end as to the necessity of that executive order. So I guess that would be the first row we would want to go down is the necessity of that order and I guess the overall, I guess the landscape of the entire executive order. How far does it reach? I know there's been some confusion about that amongst them and what it actually entitles everyone to. So if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Or
So,
Mr. Bryson, whoever.
yeah. So when the executive order was done, the scope of it was provided to, of course, the mayor, city council members and or city employees. The normal daily job of the city police department is, of course, if any of these guys are out in public or if they're at a function, they may or may not be present there. Most of the events they are present. It will give them a little bit more of a detail to if there is a threat on life, that they could ensure that they're getting to and from their vehicles. It takes them out of their scope of their daily duties. So talking with KLC and the city attorney, it was best that we cover the city employees and the city, especially if they did anything out of the scope of their daily jobs, which is protect and serve the entire community. But they actually talked to one of the council members about this, but let's say there was threat of life on one of the council members. The city wanted to ensure that they too would have, especially in their job capacity or even outside of their job capacity, had extra protection provided by the city. Thankfully, we've not had to use the executive team at all at this point. So if that's been one of the concerns, we've not. But we wanted to make sure that that route was there, not just for them, but for city employees.
Has everyone who is under that protection umbrella been advised as to, I guess, how to enact that protection if need be?
We've not talked to all the council members, no. Like I said, we have talked to one of the council members.
Who is that one?
It was Stacy Bench.
Okay.
But we've not reached out to all of them, no.
Is there something that as the council they need to do to ensure that they are getting, that information, how they need to go about doing that?
Yeah, they would more than welcome to reach out to my office anytime.
Just specifically with the executive team detailed instructions, for lack of a better term?
If they feel that they need that extra protection, yeah.
Right, but I guess my point is, this is supposed to be for almost like emergent circumstances, correct?
Correct.
So they can't reach out to your office Saturday night at 2 a.m.
Well, all the council members have my cell phone, but they also seen in the executive order who the commander we appointed.
Okay.
At Bobby Day, which I think they all have his number as well.
Yes. And that's the reason why I asked Assistant Police Chief Bobby Day to be on the agenda for last month, was just to ask basic questions, since he is the commander. Mayor, is this executive security team, is this active?
Well, of course, the executive order is active, but the team is not active.
The team is not active, okay.
I would like to say that I felt like that it was pretty distasteful, considering that our public doesn't feel safe. It was bad timing to put this into an executive order because I don't feel threatened. And I feel like a lot of our public has felt threatened during the last few months. So I thought the timing was very distasteful.
Anything else there, Conrad?
My only question, sir, was the task force active? And you said no, correct?
Yes, I mean, the executive order is active.
But the task force is not.
We've appointed a commander, correct?
Okay. I just wanted just to clarify, no council member, no city employee, yourself or your family was not being protected by the city police currently, either at your home, on vacation, out in the county, just anywhere.
No.
Okay.
That's not true.
Yes, sir.
I will have one thing after the department reports. Just heads up.
Is it on something on the agenda though?
It's about our next meeting. It can be talked about. That's all.
Okay. All right, that's it. We'll move to the next thing on you have department reports. Everybody, again, each department went down and they listed before you guys. The city clerk's office gave you detail on the property tax, delinquent bills tax, the business license and the alcohol collections, and also the open records requests that they've received. This was in the month of March. The IT team gave you guys the technology and the progress report improvements that they've done. They gave, if I don't, the city clerk just informed me, she don't know if that didn't have a copy of that, but if not, we'll get you a copy of that via email. That would be for the IT team. The building inspectors and code enforcement, if you look, they gave you a detailed report. The first page you'll see there what has been collected, and then the code enforcement reports. In that packet, you'll see that they did 4 violations, and the details of those are in that packet as well. Sherry this month attached with the general fund budget tracking that Yins get monthly. She did put a cover page to that, and you'll be able to see a little bit more detailed of some of the things that she's talking about in the report. One thing that she did also will do is remind you guys of her email address, and as you reach out to Katie quite often, she's open to any questions you may have to reach out to her via email. I think that the budget track is pretty detailed. If you have any questions about it or don't know how to read it or something, reach out to me or Sherry. We can go over it with you. The London City Fire Department also gave you a detailed report showing you the calls they made. And then the police one, I don't think it would made it to your thing that came in late, so we'll get that one out to you as well. And then your final one in there is Willie Sawyer's, his report to that. So is there any questions regarding the department updates?
Are any departments over budget?
No. Are they over budgeted? No, I mean, we're tracking pretty well on all the tracking that we did, on all the numbers that we did from last year. If you look at the budget tracking, it breaks it down to show you what we've spent and then the total in the budget. So if you go to actual balance is the first line, it shows you the actual balance on 2024, the budget total, this is what we've allotted, and then the remaining to the very right shows you what is left. So basically the two imperative numbers would be your budget total, showing what we budgeted for, and then what's remaining.
I just know that we only have a few more months until our next budget for the year. We want to make sure that we're not over budget or, any issues.
No.
And that was the main reason, wanting to talk to Sherry to set up a class to, a workshop basically.
Yeah, we actually going to do what we did last year. We allowed each council member to come in because we do roundtables with all department heads every month. And some of you guys came last year, some of you didn't. And that way you guys can talk individually to the department heads about the budgets and
I mean, I didn't come because I already talked to Sherry.
Yeah.
I was with her, so I didn't see the point of coming to the meeting.
But we're going to set times up for you guys to come in and do that. So hopefully we'll see you during those meetings and you guys can talk about, address concerns or whatever during that time.
Is that it for that?
Yep.
I just want to address the veto on the meeting and time and place. I'd ask for it to be added tonight. It's not on here. I'd like for you to, while we're here, let's pick a time and let's do a second reading on it, please. At your leisure, whenever you can do it. So we like to,
On the meeting place?
yeah, I'd just like to have another reading of it. We can do it.
We
Do it in
also,
the middle of the day, noon, I don't care.
we'll have to schedule a special meeting anyway to vote on these vetoed again.
But I don't
So
think
we can
there's,
do
I
that
don't think
at
there's
the
any
same
question
time.
as to the contents of this ordinance. It was just a matter of, it was at that meeting. This is veto. I know you got your schedule better than that, and I thought we'd address it now.
Mr. Bryson,
I would prefer everybody was
When
there.
would you like to try to do that meeting?
I mean, it's supposed to rain Friday. We can do it
This
Friday
week.
at lunch or
Yeah, Friday at lunch
Friday
is
middle of
good.
the day. Maybe if you're here,
So Friday at noon?
Yes.
sounds good to me. Shouldn't take. I mean, it is something that needs to be addressed. It's technicality, but
Is that good for everyone?
Yeah, we're good.
everybody good?
So Friday at noon.
There we go. Thank you, sir.
All right, just need a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see you this evening. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark passed away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise.